What's up, everyone? This is Luke with the Lukewarm Take, episode 4. We're just going to get straight into it. It was a solid weekend of just, nothing for sports. We had the NFL Combine, which we'll get into that later. We had LeBron hit 40,000 points. We had AEW Revolution with Sting's last match. And then we had a couple injuries. I'll get into that later. But I want to talk about AEW Revolution. It's fresh off of my mind. It was a great show. It was really fun. That would have been one of the shows I would show somebody that's never watched wrestling before, show them what it's about. It's one of my favorite AEW shows of all time. Especially mainly because of the main event with Sting's last match, where they had Darby Allin go through the glass, which that's something I'll never forget in my life, where Darby Allin was on the 30-foot ladder and he tried doing a shooting star press off of it, and the Young Bucks pulled the chairs, or they pulled themselves away from the glass, and he just flipped all the way into the glass, which if you hadn't seen that yet, just look up on Twitter or something. It's incredible. And then dude just got busted up and was out for the rest of the match until the end. But that was the greatest send-off I would say that somebody could do for somebody like that age. Sting 64, and he went through a glass pane too. Somehow I wasn't expecting it. I was like, holy crap, they're really gonna do that to Sting. But yeah, I had so much fun last night watching it. I just had one problem. It was too long. It was 4 hours. It got finished at 11 o'clock and I was done. The last two matches before the Sting match, I was clocked out with the Will Ospreay match and the triple threat, or they say three-way because WWE does triple threat. The three-way for the AEW championship. It's mainly because they gave every single person 20 minutes. You don't need every match to go 20 minutes. That freaking tag team with FTR and Blackpool Combat Club, that did not have to go 20 minutes. That should have been just 10 minutes. Same thing with the Daniel Bryan and the Eddie Kingston match. That should have gone at least 10 minutes at best. And then they only had one woman match on the entire card. They had that one tag team match at on the pre-show, but come on now, you're expecting Mercedes Moné to come in and save this division when you're only going to put one female match on a pay-per-view. I don't understand Tony Khan, but yeah, it was a good show. Other than those gripes, I was checking my phone a lot during the I was just checked out during that title match. It was probably the worst match on the card, if I'm gonna be honest. Either that or the Tony Storm match. But yeah, I had fun watching it. The length, I guess I'm just too used to WWE shows where they're 3 hours now because they only have 4 matches. But other than that, I had a great time watching that. So LeBron hit 40,000 points. Congrats to him, I guess. Yeah. There's not much to say. The Lakers lost that game to the Denver Nuggets anyway. So cool, LeBron hit 40,000 points. Nobody's ever done it. Nobody will probably ever do it again. Just different era. I don't know what the future of the NBA is going to look like. It's probably going to be more free throw based than it already is. But, there's nothing else to talk about. Just LeBron just padding his resume even more for his obvious Hall of Fame case. He'll forever be remembered in the rest of the time. And then we had Xavier Worthy. He broke the combine record for the 40-yard dash. He ran a 4.21, which that's just inhumane. I never thought somebody would beat John Ross's record. And I thought Xavier Worthy would run a 4.3 or something like that. He was fast. He was the fastest guy I was thinking about in that combine. But a 4.21 was just not something I was expecting. And I had him mocked in the first round for a lot of the college football season, and he kind of fell off. I wonder how his mock's going to be now, because he does have a catching problem, but that could be something that could be fixed. He's got injury concerns, obviously, speedster, small frame, so the injury concerns are always going to be there for a guy like him. But I'm excited to see what this guy can do. I mean, he could be a steal in the second or third round. But we got some injuries this weekend. Jalen Brunson, he got hurt. He hurt his knee. Tom Thibodeau said today that he's day-to-day, so you could see him in the Knicks next game, which that'd be horrible if the Knicks lose basically their entire starting lineup due to injuries, because you got Robinson's out. You got Julius Randle, he's still out. OG Anunoby's almost back, but he's still out. And then Jalen Brunson, I mean, you could just clock up every game as a loss. And then Devin Booker, he hurt his ankle. He's out for 7 to 10 days. Shams tweeted that out earlier. But other than that, that's what happened this weekend. I've got some other news that happened later, like when I was recording. But anyways, let's just talk about the Combine. Some of the guys that popped off to me, they're all defensive guys. We got Peyton Wilson, and some people are comparing him to Luke Kuechly. I don't think that's fair to automatically call him Luke Kuechly after just running a 4.43. I mean, he didn't pop off in any other of the drills to me. I mean, I watched most of the drills for linebackers because I was home doing nothing that night. But yeah, Peyton Wilson ran a 4.43, and they're like, "Oh, Luke Kuechly." I'm like, okay, I'd like this. I'm gonna have to watch some more film on him. I wasn't really watching film for him, but I'm gonna go watch some film today about him and think about it later. But yeah, I don't know about the Luke Kuechly comparison, but we'll see. And then we had the three edges that just popped off with Dallas Turner, Chop Robinson, and Jared Verse. And I have their stats down. Dallas Turner, he had a 4.46 40, which is the fastest out of all the edges. He had a broad jump of 10 foot 7 inches, and he had the best vertical out of the group with a 40.5-inch vert. But Chop Robinson, he ran a 4.48 40. He had a 10.8 broad jump, which was the best out of all the edges, and then he had a 34.5 vert. And then Jared Verse, he ran a 4.58 40. His broad jump was 10.7. His vert was 35. His 3-cone was 7 3-point, and then he benched 31 reps of 225, which was the most out of all the defensive linemen or edges, which that's really impressive. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really look into if Chop or Dallas, if they did the bench press. I would assume not, but 31's impressive, especially with a 4.58 speed with 31 reps on bench is absurd. Like, I had Jared Verse as a mocked first-round guy, but he could shoot up to top 10 maybe if he could pass Dallas Turner. Chopper Robinson, his stock was falling. Stock's coming back up now. Everybody's hyped with him again. But, yeah, impressive those guys. There was no quarterback that popped off to me. I mean, Kenyon Mitchell for corner and Jared, or I can't even think of his name, Higgins. It's Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. They popped off at corner. Running backs, it's a weak running back class. I didn't even watch that. Tight ends, I didn't watch that either. And I didn't get a chance to watch the offensive linemen because I was busy yesterday. But I hadn't heard any news of guys at the offensive line position, so I'm assuming that everybody's stock's going to stay the same. But yeah, no quarterback really tested well from what I watched. I saw J.J. McCarthy pop off, and then I had to go leave for something. I don't really remember what, but yeah, J.J. McCarthy, he was doing decent from what I was watching. And then I saw Spencer Rattler run a 4.9. I wasn't expecting that, but I mean, it's Spencer Rattler. Like, I thought he would run faster, but I guess his stock's just going to stay the same or go down because I didn't really watch him throw. And then we got a couple of contract extensions or signings, free agent signings in both NFL and the MLB. I'll start off with Matt Chapman. He signed a 3-year, $54 million deal with the San Francisco Giants, and he's got a $2 million signing bonus with the player option. He's one of those Scott Boras clients that was holding out as long as possible because it's Scott Boras, and he didn't get what I would assume Boras wanted. Boras probably wanted $100 million, at least $100 million over 5 or 6 years, which he could have gotten that. I mean, I thought he would have been worth that much with his defensive prowess and the potential to hit 30 to 35 home runs every year. He normally doesn't live up to that potential with the bat. He's very inconsistent contact wise. He doesn't find gaps very easily, and that's his problem. But in San Francisco, they tend to not have the power guys. He could learn how to just use gaps correctly, and he could end up hitting like 280, hitting 35 bombs a year with platinum glove defense, and that's an MVP candidate, I would say. Like, almost like a Nolan Arenado type guy, which that's what he's been compared to his entire career, just with the platinum glove defense. I mean, I don't know how many platinum gloves he's won now, but he's an elite defender, and just that alone is worth the $50 million or $54 million that he's getting paid. And then Mike Evans signed a $52 million extension or signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. While I woke up this morning, I saw it. I was like, I woke up immediately and I saw Schefter notifications. Like, what's going on? And Mike Evans, 52 for 2 years. And I was like, oh, good deal. Mike Evans is probably going to be his last 2 productive years. I would say he's getting up there in age. And so I know he was linked with Kansas City, and there's a bunch of other free agent receivers. You got Calvin Ridley that's linked with Kansas City. Mike Thomas is linked with Kansas City. So Kansas City is going to get a guy. T. Higgins, he got hit with the franchise tag, I believe. But other than that, I don't really know who Kansas City is going to draft. They're going to draft the receiver, obviously, and they're going to sign a receiver. I would say they're probably going to get Mike Thomas. That'd be a good replacement for Kelsey's role almost, because Kelsey's kind of deteriorating as a player. He's getting up there in age. Mike Thomas, he's going to be there for the short intermediate routes, run slants, run outs, run ins, run little drags, and he's going to get you those 8 yards. He's got soft hands. It's Mike Thomas. He's been hurt. Obviously, he hadn't played much since his record-breaking years. He's definitely done in New Orleans, unfortunately. A lot of dudes are probably gone in New Orleans after this year, I would say. I mean, if I was the general manager, the Saints dropped Marcus May this weekend. I would also try and trade Kamara and Lattimore. Just retool, get those picks. I mean, you don't have very many middle-round picks, and you do a great job drafting. I know Penning's been awful, and then you didn't hit on Marcus Davenport. He was just average. You traded up to get him, and that was rather unfortunate. But, anyways, I'm fanboying right now, but I still think they'll win the division next year, even without Kamara, because you got Kendre Miller, you got Jamal Williams. He was putting it on the last game. You got, obviously Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, 2 elite receivers. I wouldn't call it Rashid Shaheed elite, but Chris Olave is an elite guy. Rashid Shaheed just a great deep ball threat. And then you could also draft a quarterback in the middle rounds, develop him. Bridge, you can have him as a bridge from Derek Carr to rebuild, or he could end up hitting on him and you got an elite guy. It's always great to draft a quarterback if you're not in depth, because you got Jake Haener. He was suspended. He didn't impress me in the preseason, so I don't really know what he's going to do. But, yeah, Saints have a decent – I don't really know about their future, but they're always doing a great job just retooling, figuring out what they can and can't do. And they're in cap hell, but they'll always find a way out of cap hell. And they'll probably sign somebody, maybe another running back, maybe a tight end, because, Jawan Johnson, he wasn't playing the best. I would assume they'll release Taysom Hill, this year, because he's got a big cap hit. Derek Carr, he restructured his contract. James Winston, he restructured his contract to just allow a little bit cap flexibility. Other than that, I just went on a rant for the Saints for no reason, but that's what you're gonna get with me. Other than that, no NBA action this weekend. It was all just average. run-of-the-mill March games. NBA is about to get swallowed up by March Madness soon. Tournaments are starting this week, and then playoffs start in April. So, but it's the dog days. Games starting to count, even though nobody's really watching because there's nothing else on. It's the dry edge of sports. I mean, you get this twice a year. You get this in March or February through March when there's no football on, and then you got this in July when basketball's over and there's only baseball. There's no college athletics going on. It's just Major League Baseball. So you got to wait all day until Major League Baseball starts, and then it just happens. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do going forward. We're gonna have more wrestling talk because that's going on year round. More MMA talk, but yeah, and then we'll do like predictions and stuff like that. So I'm thinking on Wednesday we'll have my first mock draft recording for the first round. I might do a full 7-round mock. I don't know if I really should do that. I'll do a 3-round mock at least eventually, like maybe the week before the draft. But yeah, I'm just getting out of focus. Let's talk about this next incoming week, NBA action. But you've got UFC 299. I'm gonna pull up the card right now just to discuss it because I'm excited for this card. It's stacked card. You have back-to-back stack cards with 299 and 300. I'm pulling up on my phone. Sorry. Where is it? Yeah, so let's start from the bottom with the prelims. Joanne Wood and Marina Moroz. I don't really know much about them. Actually, I don't know much. I'll start with these are probably the early prelims, this first 3 fights. The opening prelim, I would assume, is Michael Pereira versus Michael Oleksiejczuk. I can't say that. Michael Pereira is an exciting guy. If you haven't seen him fight before, he does crazy stuff like backflips on people and stuff. He's fun. You got Philip Lins and Jan Kutelaba. I'm not familiar with these dudes. They have decent records. There is no line on them or anything, so I don't really know about this fight. But it could bang. I don't know. You got Kyler Phillips and Pedro Munoz. I don't remember last time Pedro Munoz fought. I remember he fought Sean O'Malley and lost, and they had that DQ or no contest with the eye poke and stuff. I feel like he fought before. Let me check his history since then. Let's see. Pedro Munoz. Yeah, he had 2 fights. Oh yeah, he lost to Chito Vera in the card with Sean O'Malley and Aljamain Sterling, and then he beat Chris Gutierrez. I remember that actually, April 15, 2023. Yeah, so yeah, he's had 2 fights. He's 1-1 since then. He's out of his prime, obviously, but that's what you expect. And then you got Rafael dos Anjos versus Mateus Gamrot. That's a great fight. I would say Mateus will win by a decision, but that's a high level fight. Rafi never count Rafael dos Anjos out. And then you got Macy Barber and Cataline Sermonera. I'd take Macy Barber on that. And then the feature prelim is Jalatin Almeida and Curtis Blades. I would take Almeida. It's a pick-em. I'll pick Almeida. Curtis Blades is getting up there in age. He's got a lot of the wear and tear on him. But if he can get like his takedowns down and stuff, he could end up winning by decision. Because I would say he's the most talented wrestler in the heavyweight division. And then the opening fight on the main card is Song Yadong and Piotr Yan. Piotr Yan's minus 120 right now. I'm excited for this fight. Song Yadong, he always bangs when he fights. Piotr Yan, he's trying to come back from back-to-back losses to Sean O'Malley, and then he lost by that decision to Aljamain Sterling. And he lost to Murad Dvalishvili. So he's on a 3-fight lose streak actually. But yeah, and well, he beat Cody Sandhagen for that interim title. That was a great fight. But Petr Yan, I hope he comes back and wins this fight, maybe decisively by knockout or submission or something. Hopefully, so he can go back in the ranks. He's 16-5. I don't know how old he is. He's 31, so he's got plenty of time to just come back. Yeah, he's on a 3-fight skid. He lost to Merab by UD, where he got dominated by Merab. He lost to Sean O'Malley with the split decision. He lost to Aljamain in the split decision. And then he obviously lost to Aljamain that first time because of that DQ. But, yeah. And then we got Jack Della Maddalena versus Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is the underdog right now. From what I remember, let me check. Gilbert Burns' last fight was against Bilal Muhammad, I'm right, where he got dominated by Bilal. And that was like 2 weeks' notice. I don't really remember. And it was that 5-round fight. But he was on a 2-fight win streak after losing to Hamzat. He beat Neil Magny, and then he beat Jorge Masvidal on Jorge's last fight. And then he got dominated by Bilal. He got hurt in that fight, if I remember correctly. And then, so he's the underdog right now. The line is, let's see. The line, he's plus 135 right now. I would take that, honestly. I'll take him just as a throw him because, it's Gilbert Burns. He's a great fighter. He's gone toe-to-toe with the best with Kamaru Usman. He got knocked out by him, but he was winning that first round against Kamaru Usman. I thought he did well against Hamzat. He dominated Jorge. He hasn't fought Colby Covington yet. I would say that'd probably be the next fight for him, unless Colby retires, which we'll see about that. But then the next fight is Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page. Michael Venom Page is debuting in the UFC for his first fight out of Bellator. He's been Bellator's golden boy since Michael Chandler left. And I'm excited to see how he turns out because last two big Bellator guys has been Michael Chandler and Eddie Alvarez. And they've both ended up – Eddie Alvarez became the lightweight champion. Michael Chandler's challenged for the lightweight crown. He lost to Charles Oliveira in a great fight. And they both ended up becoming stars on their own because they've gotten a big push because they were great stars at Bellator. We never ended up getting that that last fight in the UFC between the two. But Michael Venom Page and Kevin Holland. Michael Venom Page is the underdog right now. And I would say most of these underdogs, they're good picks. He's a slight underdog. He's plus 115. Kevin Holland, he's always a weird guy to watch. He's just like I would say Michael Johnson. He's either gonna dominate or he's gonna get knocked out. And then we got the co-main event. You got Benoit Saint-Denis and Dustin Poirier. My favorite fighter, Dustin Poirier. He's the underdog, plus 180. I don't think he's gonna win this fight, unfortunately. I think he's on the down tour. I'm scared. He got knocked out huge by Justin Gaethje in his last fight. He's getting up there in age. He's 35. Benoit's 28. It's going to be an interesting fight. They're both southpaws. And yeah, so I would pick Benoit, unfortunately. He's 13-1. And then the main event is Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera. And Sean O'Malley is a minus 295 favorite. I would take that. I don't think he's going to knock anybody. I don't think he's going to knock Chito Vera out, but he's going to take him to the decision. He's going to use that length, just box him all the way to the decision. It should be a good fight, though. It's not going to be one of those boring, just like counter fests the entire time. It's a great card. It's going to deliver, and it's setting up for a great just spring of fights because you got UFC 300 next. You got a couple of great fight nights in between. And then UFC 300 is just becoming more stacked. They still got another fight they're going to have to put on the main card. And so far the main event's Alex Bejeda and Jamal Hill. But I think that could end up being change to Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler, if I'm being honest. Or they could get, I don't know. I don't know if John Jones is going to be ready in time. But, yeah. But other than that, we're going to go for my picks for tonight. I've got Clippers +5 as the underdogs. I think they'll cover against the Bucks. They're going to be playing in Milwaukee, but I think it's a great matchup for the Clippers. And then I also got OKC +1 on the road against the Lakers. It's just one of those games where I think OKC will go in there, get the job done, win by a couple scores, and go away happy. They're still a 1 seed, right? Or is it? I don't even remember. I haven't checked the standings. Is that uninformed I am? Yeah, they're still the 1 seed. They're half a game ahead of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then the Clippers are the 4 seed, while the Bucks are the 2 seed. That's a great game. Is it on ESPN? I hope it is. No, it's on NBA TV. So it's going to be nationally broadcasted. That's an underrated game. I don't know why ESPN did not pick that up. And then, there's a couple of games this week. I'll get into that later in the week. Spring training action's going on still. It's spring training. Nothing really you can talk about for that. And then tonight you got Monday Night Raw. They haven't announced the matches for tonight, but it's going to be Cody Rhodes' decision and Seth Rollins' decision for the main event of night 1 versus The Rock and Roman Reigns. I'm excited about that. They're obviously going to take that. Why would you not have The Rock on night 1 at WrestleMania? And then they're probably going to lose that match to The Rock and Roman Reigns. If I was booking it, I would put The Rock, rock bottoming Cody Rhodes. He gets Samoan spiked by Solo Sikoa, rock bottom, spear, 1, 2, 3, Cody Rhodes loses, and then you have like this cliffhanger momentum into night 2 where you're like, holy crap, Cody might lose, and then end up comes back, just shows off. And then you can have all these surprises with the bloodline rules. Like they said, if The Rock and Roman Reigns wins, it'll be a bloodline rules match. You can have, I've seen videos. Stone Cold Steve Austin's been training very hard recently, which, I don't know, you could hear the glass shatter, and then Stone Cold stuns The Rock. You could have Jey Uso, which that's probably going to be a match, Jey versus Jimmy. You could have Jey super kick Jimmy. I don't know how that I would book Jey as losing that match, but he could get the last W by having the bloodline lose with Roman Reigns, where he just super kicks Jimmy. You could have John Cena come in, Attitude Adjust, Solo Sikoa. You could have like I've been seeing on Twitter, Cody Rhodes is going to probably assemble the Avengers, just the faces of the WWE with Stone Cold. You could have Drew McIntyre is definitely not going to be. He's famous for being screwed out of the bloodline. But you'd have Seth Rollins. You could have, obviously Seth Rollins, unless he turns heel. Which that's another story. You never trust Seth Rollins. Like, this is an exciting time for the WWE. Going into WrestleMania, it's the most excited I've been for WrestleMania in a while. You got Sami Zayn, you got Kevin Owens, you got Randy Orton, AJ Styles, LA Knight. They can all help Cody Rhodes finish the story. And then Dustin Rhodes will be there more than likely, and he used to be Gold Dust, because they signed that deal with AEW, where AEW got to use Sting's old film from WCW, and then Dustin Rhodes gets to go to WrestleMania with Cody Rhodes, and so it would just be a great moment, and it'd be overbooked, but that's all you really need for the WrestleMania main event. Just have an overbooked mess, fan service all over, and just have a great time. But anyways, I think that's going to be it for me today. Y'all have a safe day, and God bless.